Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity. My name is Lionel Ndetse. I'm writer for the Pan-African Review. My question is about Africa's security, to be precise. We live in a world where a powerful actor can come and attack you without having so much as a good justification. So at the recent ISCA high-level discussions, the head of the RDF research and development said that Africa cannot remain a mere consumer of technology. And they were talking about autonomous systems, new weapons emerging. And you've talked often about self-reliance. And so I was wondering, in a sector like defense, how can we translate self-reliance into real capabilities, defense capabilities, and what can Rwanda contribute to that quest? Thank you.
Well, we are trying. I mean, the first thing is, I'm glad you had that discussion. The very fact that somebody put it forward like that within that context already shows from the thinking, practical things happen. In fact, it's not just self-reliance is in many aspects. It's not just in technology and different systems as you mentioned. Self-reliance goes into other areas, even of governance. As you have seen in Rwanda, there are so many things we've done in areas of governance and service and delivery. And some people will wonder whether we don't even have more resources than we are known for. It's like, how does a poor country get to be here on this, on that, and so on? That is delivered actually by that mindset of self-reliance. So the self-reliance aspect of it makes, the aspect makes people, there are things I said when I was answering one of the questions. I said, do whatever you can within your means. There are people who have the means and they can't deliver on something when they have the means. In fact, some people have a lot in terms of means and they don't deliver much. So in that discussion, what was being said can be applied in defense. Again, another simple example, we are used to having, you have heard of peacekeepers across the world, financed by the UN, by big powers, and so on and so forth. And some security products that have to do a lot with the peace cannot be delivered because people will tell you there is no money to finance it. So we've tried to move around that and say, no, but there are some things that can be delivered even without much money by the UN or by the rich people. People know about Mozambique, or they think about Central African Republic. But I can remind you that, for example, you must have heard of a case in Sudan. Remember the conflict in Darfur. That was way back, even before we started having some of the things we have. Our forces went and served in Darfur, first under the African Union, and then a hybrid African Union, UN. And do you know that for the first months, I think like 9 months, our forces went there and served without being paid anything. We were paying them from here. We were giving them their salaries, putting their salaries on their account here. They were there. And whatever they were using there, we were giving them. That was, and what was delivered in that situation was better or more than we have seen delivered by so much money poured into a situation when you were there in Darfur. So it's again a question of how do you want to approach a problem. Having independence to do, it doesn't matter the size. Rwanda is not by any standard a big country. We are one of the smallest countries, I think, in the world. But does that stop us looking around for what we can do and within our means and do it? Or deliver whatever we can somewhere else, first looking at what is within our means. So it's that sort of approach that must have built on or during that discussion that happened recently. There is and by the way, looking at what makes you independent does not remove the fact of the need to work together. Work together, but start from a point where you people coming together, each one of you must be saying, suppose the worst comes to the worst and I'm on my own. How do I survive? How do I operate? How do I deliver to an extent whatever I need to deliver?
Thank you, Excellency. In the interest of time, may we take just one last question?
I don't know how many, can see many faces here, people. Maybe we try and shorten questions, and I also try my best to shorten my answers, and we take more people.
Thank you, sir. We'll take 2 to 3 more questions. We'll start with you're the center.
You've taught me to say so many things. I never used to speak like this, but you made me talk and talk and talk and talk and
Muraho.
yes, Baroness.
Joel Talargi here from Ethiopia. I'm a tech content creator as well as software developer. So I'm here for the forum. Thank you for this chance, Your Excellency. So I have a very critical and short question for you regarding technology and AI for Africa. So to make it short, AI systems are learning what Africa is from data. So systems learn from data, and that data is wrote about us that we didn't write. So Africans didn't write those data that AI is learning. And we have the youngest population on Earth, which is a very big thing, and the thinnest digital footprint of our own making. So my question is, what will African governments do differently this time? not to consume AI, but to make sure that Africans creating content, data, and stories today are the ones training how models that will define us tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because every decision being made around the world is being influenced by AI. And AI is good if the data that it's trained on is good. If it's bad, it's going to be biased. And also AI is going to take jobs, and AI is going to affect the education, entrepreneurship, and every sector.
Right. Well, so that's a good question. But the problem doesn't start with the AI. It's not, AI is something recent, right? Meaning for collecting data and not doing much with it, and collecting it in Africa, is something that precedes the era of AI. So, but it goes back to that question, where Africa, whether it is AI or anything else that will come in the future, and we shouldn't be taking all this long to be part of the conversation, the global conversation. How can we keep referring ourselves to, I mean, as people who are left behind, who AI comes, is the data, it is collected from us, it is going to affect us because those who are developing systems using yes, that is a problem that has been there for, let me say, the last 100 years. We really need to change that conversation and just like in your own way, I mean, your talent, your profession, you're in, and so on. Many Africans have that knowledge. They have, in fact, sometimes they are the ones working for those institutions or those companies that develop AI systems. You find they're Africans. So we need to resolve a bigger problem on our continent where, yes, we need to be at the same level with the rest across the world, because we can. Why is it just a given that Africa must lag behind everybody? No. So, but what you are saying is true. But it doesn't, it shouldn't be that way. It's something we need to change. We're already too late in doing that, too late. We should have done it 20 years ago, 30 years ago, even on other things and in other areas. So the conversation around this African governance and the mindset and so on and so forth should be making a dent, at least in, shaking Africa into this position where we can't keep being onlookers and just having things about ourselves being taken care of by others. I mean, just imagine it for a moment, what that means. Why? Why should it be like this? But it's not just asking questions, you should also find answers. And the answers are in this room. They are in another room next, and another room on our continent. Yes, let's make the investments that are needed. We've already made the investment, let's say, in our young people and others grown who have developed certain capabilities, they are there. So why don't we bring our heads together and do it without waste of time?
Thank you, sir. We'll take the